I really don't even know how to explain this. Oh my gosh. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel.
But we don't talk anymore.
Today, we are going to talk about how to break down a script. So you get your script for your audition or your role that you booked, then what? These are just things that I've learned in theater school, in different acting classes that I've taken. I've had so many different teachers. Everyone has their own method. I like picking and choosing and pulling things from different teachers that work well for me. So you pick and choose whatever works for you. Today we are going to break down a script from Orange is the New Black. I did this scene in my acting class. So this scene is where Piper finds out that Alex name dropped her in court, and Alex is the reason that Piper is in jail. So this scene is just kind of where they kind of blow up at each other. So first things first, you read your script, then you read it again and again and again. You read this thing like 20,000 million times, okay? I like to do character analysis. So these are basically just questions about your character that you answer in as much detail as you can, just so you get really, really specific about who your character is. It has questions like, what's your character's age, occupation, interests, beliefs, ambitions, where are you from? A lot of this stuff you can find in the actual script. A lot of it you just have to make up yourself and believe it and go with it. And you're probably thinking like, well, why does it matter if you're just making it up anyway? Because it allows you to be so specific in your scenes. Everyone has a history. Everyone acts a certain way because of said history or past traumas or childhood memories. So when you get really specific about your character's history, you can bring that into your scene. What's your character's voice like? Does she talk in like a glottal fry? Or does she have a nice, smooth, elegant, soft-spoken voice? I'm saying she just because the character I'm using right now is a woman. What's her walk like? What type of animal are you most like? I love choosing animals for my characters just because it can really help you find the physicality of your character. So for example, for Piper, I put a sheep. My character is a sheep because she's very soft-hearted and like elegant and soft and comes from this very sheltered upbringing. And it's really only within the series that she really like finds herself and becomes super direct and adamant and a leader. Also in this scene, Piper blows up at Alex, which is very unlike her and out of character for her. So this is where things get kind of tricky. You have your scene. Every scene has an objective. So you need to find what your character's objective is in this scene. Like, what does the character want? We all, in real life, want something. In every interaction we have, we want something from the other person that we are talking to. Whether it's just connection or love, or I want to be seen and heard, or I want you to give me some of your mac and cheese. I don't know, that's the first thing that came to my mind. So for this scene, I wrote, I want to forgive Alex. Now, very often you're gonna start off with an objective, and as you keep working on the scene, you're gonna find that your objective is changing. Keep challenging yourself to find a better objective. Then, what is your obstacle? There is always something in the way of you getting that thing. My obstacle is my resentment towards Alex because I know that she name dropped me in court and she's the reason my life went up in shambles and I am in prison with her. Then you have a super objective. Super objective is your character's objective for the entire play, the entire movie, the entire series of a TV show. So I put my super objective as get early release from prison. If this is your main goal in your head, obviously everything you do is going to affect that. So if you get into a fight with someone, that's a shot, and then that's gonna affect your early release. So it really shapes everything that my character does. And it should be this thing that's constantly in the back of your mind, like that is your main goal in life right now. Everything you do and say is going to affect that thing. Okay. In your script, you need to separate your scene into different beats. Every beat has a certain tactic that your character is using in order to get their objective. Whenever that tactic changes, that is a separate beat. Easy example. Let's go back with the mac and cheese. I want you to give me some of your mac and cheese. So one of my tactics could be, I'm so hungry. Oh my God, I'm starving. I haven't eaten all day. And you're just sitting there eating your mac and cheese like, oh yeah, you know, Timmy's is right over there. Can you go get yourself something to eat over there? New beat, new tactic, because that's not working. How else can I get the mac and cheese? If this was like a really, really wild scenario, I can choose to threaten you. If you don't give me your mac and cheese, I will tell everyone what you did last summer. Very, very different tactic from what I was using before. Tactics. There are different strategies you are using to achieve your objective and overcome your obstacle. Piper has a line, "Stop it, Alex." My tactic is to shove. I'm not actually physically shoving her, but I'm doing so with my words. Stop it, Alex. You can imagine me shoving you away. And oftentimes you are going to write and rewrite your tactics. You're gonna try different things and realize, oh, that doesn't work. What else can I try to make this scene work? It doesn't feel right. A great book that y'all should get, Actions, the Actor's Thesaurus. So this book divides its actions alphabetically, or if you go to the back of the book, it divides the actions into different emotional groups. If you're like trying to think of a verb, I know exactly what the theme or the emotion is, you can go to the back of the book and just find your words through there, or you can go alphabetically. Also, next to every single verb, there are other verbs that you can use that are very similar or mean the same thing, or in the same kind of ballpark, same kind of mood. This book is just really useful. It has really, really helped me expand my horizons on my verbing and actioning. And then you really just gotta try it out, see what works, see what doesn't. You're most likely gonna be redoing all of your units and objectives and tactics and everything. You're gonna be doing it like 1,000 times over until you find what's really right and what really works for you. Oh God, there's so much to learn. Every scene kind of has the same format. When I approach a scene, I like to always use these 5 things. Strong beginning. Where have you just come from? What emotional state is your character in? What just happened in the scene before that relates to this scene happening now? You need to take all of that into account, because that can honestly really change the way you enter a room, the way you start talking to someone, what your character's mental state is at. It affects everything. So every scene has a scene shift. So what is the moment where things are going well and then all of a sudden they're going really horribly for your character? Where they're going from good to bad, or bad to worse, or good to better. I chose, it's the moment where I finally confront Alex and tell her that we are not okay. For Piper, who's not very confrontational at the beginning of the series, especially with her partner, and remember, super objective is to get out on early release. This could end in a really horrible fight. We could both get shots for being together right now. I started off this scene just trying to play nice and pretend everything's fine and act normal, but Alex keeps provoking me, so I'm gonna go off on her, and that is the scene shift. Then every scene has a moment of discovery. So your character receives some sort of new information that changes the scene. If we go back to my mac and cheese example, where I tried to threaten the other person to give me their mac and cheese, or else I'll tell everyone what they did last summer. This person comes back with, yeah, well, if you tell everyone what I did last summer, I'm gonna tell everyone what you did last Christmas. You know what I did last Christmas? Oh my gosh. Moment of discovery. This person has information that I didn't know they knew. That changes everything. Now what am I going to do to get this mac and cheese? So then every scene also has a moment of decision. Usually these moments are moments of silence where your character is really reflecting on what are they going to do next. What are they going to do to get what they want after receiving this new information, this new moment of discovery? Now what? What do I do with this information? How does this change or shift my tactics into getting my objective? You're taking in and receiving this new info, and you're also inviting the audience to think about, what would they do? And every scene has a strong ending. As an actor, especially when you're auditioning, it is very easy to rush yourself and not take your time, and like you rush into the scene right away, you do your scene, and then you rush right out, and like next thing you know, it's over in 2 seconds, and you're like, whoa, like I felt like I wasn't even in my body, I wasn't even there, I wasn't even present. So that's why it's really important to have a strong beginning that sets you up and gets you into the scene. It could be like some sort of physical action that you do, as well as a strong ending of just taking your moment and taking your time to let everything sink in for your character, everything sink in for the audience before you run off stage. After all that, I answer more questions about the scene. What is my state of mind? What time is it? Where am I? Your environment is so important, and I think it's something that a lot of actors forget. At least I forget a lot about how my environment and my surroundings can really affect me and how I approach the scene. So in this scene, Alex and I are alone. We're in our own private room, like no one's around us, so we can really go off on each other. But let's say it was in the cafeteria and there are a bunch of prison guards around, and my super objective is to get out an early release. And I know if Alex and I have a huge fight that blows up in the middle of the cafeteria, we're both gonna get shots or maybe get sent to, what's that word where they like get sent to that private room and solitary, that awful form of punishment that we all kind of went through during this pandemic. Jesus. So if we are going to have this conversation and have this conversation now, how are my surroundings, my environment going to affect the way I approach this conversation? I want to lay it all out on Alex, but there's a prison guard right there and there's a prison guard right there, and I just raised my voice at you and now they're looking, so I just have to like reel it back and pretend everything's fine, but really I'm mad at you and you broke my heart, you piece of shit. See how that's so different than if Alex and Piper were in a room alone and then you could just really go off on each other because no one's around. Your environment, y'all, changes everything. So be specific. Have I been in this room before? Because obviously you act very different when you're comfortable in a space versus this is your first time in this space. Who am I talking to? How do I feel about them? I love this. I love this so much. It makes me so happy. I get asked all the time, so what's the hardest part about acting? Learning your lines? I don't know how you learn all those lines. And it's like, no, that's not the hardest part. That is the easiest part. Anyone can easily learn a line and just say it. The hard part is doing all this work and actually making this authentic. So that is basically all the work I do for every audition that I get, every scene that I have. You do this for every single different scene, not just for one, for the whole entire script. It is a lot of work. It can seem really overwhelming. Do whatever works for you. This is what really works for me. It helps me get really specific. It helps me really get into the character, and it helps me just bring fun, interesting, exciting aspects that other actors might not have brought to this character. Like I said before, this scene is from Orange is the New Black. It's a scene that I was given in my acting class. Now you get to see the work I did in class after all this work I did at home. Jesus.
Hey.
You know what's overrated? Toast.
Wanna fuck in the pantry?
Hey, get out of here. You're gonna get a shot. I said stop it, Alex.
Come on, babe. We'll celebrate about how totally fine you are with everything.
Okay, you're freaking me out.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
I said stop.
What? Can a girl be totally overcome with desire for someone who's been so cool, so forgiving?
We are not okay. This is not fine.
Good, now we can talk about it.
So that's what this is about.
Yeah, that's what this is about. You find out that I personally got you thrown in here at the exact moment when your manicured fingers are like closing on the yuppie brass ring, and somehow you don't have a problem with it? You are so full of shit.
Fuck you. Fuck you, Alex. You want me to be angry? Well, guess what? I'm really fucking angry because I love you, Alex. I love you and I fucking hate you. And I've been trying really fucking hard to keep my fucking shit together, but hey, if you need to see me punk out over this.
Larry left you. Didn't he? That's why you're fake fine with me. Right now, you're willing to overlook pretty much anything because ultimately, you are just terrified of being alone. Look at me.
Why did you do it?
They were offering less time. A lot less time. Depending on how much I gave them, and I hadn't seen or heard from you in 8 years. You weren't even real anymore, and if I'm being really honest, I'm still pissed at you for leaving. So yeah, at that moment I was like, fuck you, you know? I'm not proud of myself.
You lied to me. When I first got here, you could have given me this whole speech right then.
I wanted you to like me. I still do.
Maybe you should have thought of that all the way through. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
I want you